everyone, it's Kay, and here's a production update on Sunken. Let's go over everything that's been done in this past year. To start, let's talk about the script. In the beginning of 2024, I finished a script for all 12 episodes. We know this, we went over it then. Since then, I have done a handful of editing passes to produce a second draft. I also had Valeria Santiago, the creator of Red Hat and The Record of Stan Frederick, take a look at my drafts and give some feedback that I am very, very grateful to have. Here's some spoiler-free looks at some of my fave notes from her. Most recently, I went through each episode and recorded scratch tracks for each one so I could get a sense of the timing. If you aren't familiar with the term, a scratch track is when you basically do a rough recording that's only meant to be temporary and ultimately replaced by the final audio. Without leaving breathing room for the visuals, the combined tracks for all 12 episodes comes out to about 6.5 hours. Add that room back in, and we're possibly looking at 7.5 hours of stuff, possibly closer to even 8. Ultimately, it's gonna be a huge amount of web series content. For comparison, Hi, I'm Mary Mary is closer to 2 hours in full. Since then, I've been doing some more edits to the script as I discovered a lot of jank when reading it out loud. Jury is still out on a table read or any additional script feedback. It really comes down to time and energy for me. Frankly, I've been kind of daunted by the sheer volume of all the video work I'll need. So to deal with it, I've done a ton of personal admin work and tried to actively split up as much as I can into manageable chunks. So far so good, but it still feels like looking into a giant maw and only being able to see the first row of teeth, knowing full well there's definitely more that I can't see. So let's talk about those visuals. Back in July 2024, I took a trip to Maine with my partner. We scored a suspiciously cheap Airbnb that was a whole cottage and spent a good chunk of our time there filming. Before we left, I compiled a full list of video footage that I'd need that was location dependent. It was very improvised, but we had a lot of fun. Sunken has always meant to be a very experimental series visually. Since the beginning, I'd planned to mix different types of media together as a way to explore and strengthen my skill sets. Actually laying this all out and conceptualizing it over a 12-episode web series? Hard! So, to help with that, one of my next big moves was developing a visuals pitch presentation, mostly made as a way to gather my thoughts in one place and actually solidify what everything's gonna look like. I laid out some of my style inspirations and what I like about them, and then got into the meat of it. I truly just do not have the time and energy and mental bandwidth to do something entirely bespoke for every scene, so I separated out different parts of the series into manageable sections, censored for spoilers, of course. For the actual execution, I have been making a lot of spreadsheets. I love spreadsheets. They make me feel just a little less insane. Like, look at those drop downs. Ugh. Not to get too into the organizational porn, but if we're getting a little naughty, I have even thought about making a Jira account. Right now, I'm making a set of digital dolls. Here's a look at one of them. And there's a lot more stuff to do. But that's a solid summary of what's going on. As much as I like to be a weird, distant recluse, I feel like it's a good thing to be a bit more open every once in a while. So, I'm gonna be honest. This is really hard. 2024 was the year of the layoff for me. Shortly after I finished the Sunken script, I got laid off. I managed to score another gig very quickly, but right at the end of the year, I got laid off again. 2025 has been, so far, the year of the contractor. I've had more shorter-term gigs and recently signed a much longer contract that'll welcome back a lot more job security for at least a little while. Luckily, this will mean some consistency in my life and a better way to block out time to work on Sunken, rather than getting stuck in an overwhelmed, uncertain freeze state. I've been thinking a lot about the kind of relationship I want to have with making art. As an older creator in a space filled with a lot of young artists, I feel like I have a responsibility to lead by example and not push the idea of the tortured, obsessive artist that never leaves her house and has internalized the hustle culture need to be constantly producing. Like, sure, I am very obsessive, sometimes to my detriment, but I have hobbies. The YouTube algorithm rewards constant posting and frequent hustling, but I just don't want to burn myself out fighting my executive dysfunction to please absolutely nobody in the end. It's not something to be proud of. You don't get a gold star for nearly killing yourself making art, you just get sick. Sunken will be done when it's done. I've said that from the beginning, and I'm going to reiterate it, not just for you, but for myself. I want to share the best possible version of this project that I can, and rushing to output stuff out of fears of irrelevancy, which is nonsense, is dumb. I went big, yes, but I'm not going home because I'm already here, so zing. There is a timeline for the next few Sunken related things and a few self imposed deadlines, but those will remain inside of my head for now. I'm aiming to enter a new phase at the end of my latest long work contract. Should I hit that milestone, you'll certainly hear from me with some fun new updates. In other news, next year is going to be a significant year for another project of mine. You might know it, I don't know. And I kind of want to do a little something for it. I'm not sure what, but I'll be kicking around some ideas. We'll see. I'll see you all around and take good care of yourselves. Bye.